What is your experience with thumb joint surgery?
I've been involved in the research and development of a thumb arthroplasty for 20 years. Um, where I've gained my interest was I had the fortune to train with two hand surgeons as part of my mentors. I had a total of six, but two of them were hand surgeons. So I did quite a lot of hand surgery during my residency. And I carried that into my practice with a very significant desire and interest to find answers to the basilar thumb arthritis.
What is the main difference between joint replacement and the LRTI procedure?
Certainly, I'm not here to say the LRTI doesn't work. It's a good surgery. It does work. It's very good at relieving pain, but as far as maintaining the appearance of the thumb, the mobility of the thumb, I don't think it quite does as good a job as an implant. And I've had 20 years experience with it. We did a study in 2012 with 143 patients. It was a multi-center study. We had very good results with 94% survivorship. And a lot of these patients were mine, and I'm still seeing that kind of improvement and maintenance of our results.
Why was a ball and socket design chosen for the Biopro Modular Thumb Implant?
Trying to reproduce the saddle joint, I can't think of anywhere in the human body where that architecture we've reproduced in any fashion other than like ball and sockets or hinges. That's what research and development has sort of led us to. What I felt was that the architecture of a ball and socket is stable just in itself. And then we've had a lot of experience with the hip, and certainly I did at the time, and therefore that's how we came to utilize the architecture of a ball and socket and apply it to the thumb CMC.
How do you set expectations for your patients prior to surgery?
I see a lot of CMC arthritis, and I become known, especially in my area, as somebody that addresses this issue. And it's very important, number one, to let the patient know, as we do and should in any arthroplasty, I'm not going to create a normal joint. We're going to create a joint that is hopefully going to reduce or eliminate their pain. And I'll review the options of LRTI, and my approach with that is I will say the standard of care is an LRTI, and that a lot of physicians do it and do it well, and pain relief is very predictable with that procedure. But I will say this, is that what I try to do is to try to create a result that is more cosmetically appealing, greater mobility. And I see a number of patients that come to me that have already either been educated regarding LRTI or they have concerns regarding their activities. Good examples of this are patients that play instruments. They want that dexterity. Additionally, women that do a lot of crocheting or craft work, they want that strength. I've done a number of physicians, a number of nurses. These individuals in their careers, they want to have that mobility and dexterity. And my approach with them is that I do feel I can predictably improve or remove the pain with the prosthesis. I will tell them that my rehab for patients after an implant is easier at first than the LRTI. The first month, 2, 3 is easier. However, there could be a period of 6 months to a year where we have to work through some residual pain as the trapezium remodels. And I've been very successful at this, and I have patients that have all different types of occupations. Some are rather demanding, maybe even a little more than the medial, the sort of moderate demand that we talked about, middle-aged moderate demand. Certainly a lot of the individuals that I've just discussed, like physicians and nurses and craftspeople, they can be of all different ages, and some of them young. And I state that it's very predictable that we can assist them with the prosthesis, and more than likely give them a result that they'll be happier with, not just relieving pain, but appearance and mobility and strength.
What happens if there are complications with the procedure?
Physicians will ask me, well, do you have failures? I'd like to say no, but honestly, we have. And we have addressed that in that I can still do a very good LRTI after I remove the component. Fortunately, I'm not going to report a large volume of cases, but I'll easily say 6 to 7 cases where I've removed the prosthesis for one reason or another and converted to an LRTI. And they work very, very well.
What is your post-op protocol for the Biopro Modular Thumb Implant?
When patients come back, what I'll typically do is I'll do the surgery, and we might not see that patient for a month to 6 weeks. A fair number of our patients come from long distances, and so we'll work it out where, of course, our skin closure and soft tissue, all dissolvable sutures. We utilize dressings that are not irritating to the skin, such as Vaseline, gauzes, and things of that nature. It's mostly dry. We apply a fiberglass cast at the time of surgery, and then I'll have an x-ray either in the operating or post-op or at my office the next day, and then I'll see them 6 weeks later, and they're immobilized during that period of time. When they return, it's interesting. They actually start to move their thumb. Of course, they're stiff, and they have that post-immobilization stiffness, but they right away can see that there isn't that grinding and that type of pain. So they're anxious to get going. But I really caution them to work with a therapist. Biopro has my protocols for recovery. There's also a number of physicians that utilize the components. They have very similar protocols, and those are certainly available. But basically, I encourage range of motion before I get into strengthening. I'll see them another 6 weeks after that, and at that juncture, they've usually completed their therapy, and they're doing everyday activities. They're taking care of themselves bodily. They're doing home work, chores, things of that nature. The things that I encourage or discourage is weightlifting with the upper extremity. I've had some young men want to get back to military press and things of that nature. I tell them anything with the upper extremity, downsize 50%, do more repetitions, really take it easy, because that kind of pressure directly on the thumb is a bit too much too soon. Other thing you have to be careful with is activities such as raking and things of that nature, where there's that constant repetitive force being applied to the palm of the hand. And I would say these types of activities and similar ones that patients might present you, I would be careful for at least 6 months where they're doing that kind of thing. But as far as any kind of typing, most sporting activities, even throwing and situations like that are fine.
Who are good candidates for thumb joint replacement?
I've been often asked what patient I would choose to do an implant versus an LRTI. And of course, with my experience, I've had extensive experience with using the implant, so it is sort of my go-to procedure. But I do the LRTI on a rather frequent basis, and And I'd like you to understand that I'm not here to try to encourage the use of it in every case. You still have to be the discerning physician and decide what you feel is going to be best. Certainly, in instances where there is type 4 Eaton type 4 degeneration, I would not recommend the prosthesis, at least in its current design. But additionally, I want to say that I always wanted to see the patient have a result that I'm also proud of. I can get patients to have pain relief with an LRTI, but I still see better results, appearance, motion, and strength with the implant.